Welcome to Clock That Tea with Pastor D. So guys, we have Andre here.
Hey, I'm back. Oh yeah. Send me a plate.
So it seems like I have been noted as host for this podcast. So our co-host might change every now and then if anyone is absent or, we need a little change of things. But today we'll be talking about, guys, it's episode 5. Episode 5. So, would our lovely co-host introduce what we are going to be talking about today?
Man, we're going to talk about what Pastor preached on today. Was a word fresh from Bermuda. That's right, they fresh out of Bermuda, had a great cruise last week, and she came in here with a vengeance, making sure that we understood the understanding of really faith and how big faith is in our lives and how we really lean on God tremendously within that space. And I'm really excited to talk about it because it's a lot of nuggets that was dropped. There's a lot of great understanding of application of how we can apply it to our lives. And we're going to talk about it just a little bit, just so we can make sure that what was taught today can be received in different bite sizes. So I'm very excited, Samara, again, to be here. Thank you for adding me, y'all, to the mix. I'm super happy to see y'all. Save me a plate.
A plate?
Yeah. Y'all know how it goes. You go to a cookout and, you come a little late, or you may not have been expected to be there, and you just want to have a little plate so you can take it with you or you can eat it there. Don't try to act like y'all know what I'm talking about. But we gonna save me a plate, okay? Y'all save me a plate.
All right, so our first question is, how did Pastor make that spiritual connection in your life with today's sermon?
How did Pastor make the spiritual connection in my life? So, for me, I think in this point in my life right now, I'm in a transition phase where God is working to evolve my business and as well as evolving my time and how it's spent with family, and my free time is intertwined with that. And in the midst of that, it requires me to make a sacrifice of cutting some things out. And that things that are being cut out are business oriented. So now the pockets of the business are going to be impacted. So I'm really going to be acting out on a lot of faith and really trusting that this new plan of action that's taking place, this flip of the pancake, as I like to say, is going to be a nice, fresh restart for my time, how I was spending with my family, how my business time will be spent, and essentially, again, just really making me really lean into God more on this space that I'm in right now, especially with this next chapter the last quarter of the year has for me. So yeah, that's a little bit for me. How about you?
For me, it made a spiritual connection in my life because I was thinking of doing a lot of things. When I get creative about things, I just have a lot of things going on in my mind.
For sure.
So a lot of the things, what I always told myself is not to tell other people what I have planned for myself, but I'm gonna share it here because, why not?
Why not? Y'all family.
Yeah, so this is a safe space, so everyone is welcome to share anything. Be secure in your testimonies. We would love to hear any of them.
Yes.
But one of the biggest things I realized is that maybe keeping things to myself isn't the way to go. Maybe I should start sharing my ideas. But also having a level of having my senses in check. You know what I'm saying? Like making sure that what I'm saying to people isn't giving too much information so that they'll, take my ideas. And just being aware of who I talk to.
Right.
Because I learned that a lot of people will take advantage of you in so many different aspects. So just being self-aware and having, of course, discernment and leading your life in grace and wisdom. And a lot of the ideas that I have are to create, a video game or create business endeavors or, do anything in those realms of things. Just opening up I don't like to stick to one specific thing. I like to do different avenues because I can see myself doing so many different avenues. And I'm also loving the aspect of media production because, I do media ministry.
Yeah, she got beat. So, shout out to media team. Sorry.
He's the head of it.
hey, shout out to the media team out here killing it, but she really like that.
I was about to say, like, guys, whoever's on the media team, just know we never sleep. Never.
We don't sleep.
I don't sleep. We be out here posting stuff at 12 o'clock.
I said, like, what?
We out here working on stuff for Sunday throughout the week to make sure, you know, the content is just a lot of things.
We
like
trying,
that.
y'all. We just trying to make it advertising for y'all, you know.
That I had in my life with this sermon is specifically to be aggressive and to be relentless. Like, I'm not going to sit around and wait for the perfect moment, because, you know, the perfect moment is now.
Talk.
You can't necessarily wait for other people to give you that sign, because God already gave you the sign. Mm-hmm. So it's basically notating that you don't need to wait on flesh, but wait on the Holy Spirit to lead you. Ooh, if that makes sense. Yes. And I know it does, because we have to realize that we can't lead our life according to the flesh, because our flesh will die, but our soul will live. So it's just leading our life to follow God every step of the way, so our soul can stay connected with God, but also so that we stay connected to who we are. Yes. And not really change any aspects of ourselves.
Yes.
But that also goes into, like, relationships with different people. It's like, for me, I had to learn, like, a lot of things about people, but the biggest thing I learned about myself is I'm not going to stay mad at people. I don't. Like, whatever happened, I have no bitterness. I don't hate people. I don't dislike people. I pray for them. I still love them with the same type of love I had before. And I still like to include them in any endeavors or, like, celebrations that I have. Like, it's just, you know, handling things with grace, but also still making them feel like I can still be there for them.
Right.
But not in the same way that you have access to me fully, but you have access to me limitedly.
Right.
Like, you have limits now, but I'm still not going to cut you out completely, because, you know, God put people in our lives, so, you know, to help people get through things, and maybe I'm that person to, you know, help people, or, you know, be a lifeline, or, you know, safe space. So just keeping myself open to people, but not too open to the point where they need me to, like, do anything extra.
And that's good that you have that understanding. You really realize we as a society, we all serve a place. And sometimes it's really hard for us to find out where our placement lies. So I'm going to use this church as an example. We have a nice layout of members, but trying to figure out what will fit me best. What is my calling? What is my way that I could be an impact to this church? And when you have that understanding, you lead. I love the fact that you mentioned that, because I think it's in Galatians, right? They were speaking on you following your spirit and not your flesh. Because when you follow your flesh, that's when it leads to death. When you follow your spirit, that's when it leads to love, peace, and tranquility. I could have that misquoted, but I know it's along those lines. But in hindsight, it's a very huge point to emphasize that understanding that if you are really confused on what direction that you should be going, and you are flesh driven, you're going in a direction that's simply going to deteriorate you over time and lead to your demise. So really reflecting on the word, reflecting on your surroundings and what your situation looks like. If you want to have a change or a different outlook, you really have to dive deep into yourself and understanding, am I following the calling of God? Am I listening to God's voice, or am I following what my flesh is telling me to feel like? Am I leading my direction of what I want to do based on what will make my flesh feel good? Or should I be going with the mindset of what is in my mind and my spirit? And when you have that type of way of movement, oh my God, there is nothing that can stop you. When I tell you that there will not be one firewall, there will be not one obstacle. You can be like Moses separated the Red Sea. They could be like, this man is doing the impossible. How? But that's because he's following his spirit, the Holy Spirit, to navigate to what is next. So I really wanted to utilize what that point was, because a lot of times we do find ourselves either A, not knowing where we fall, or we are interacting with different people that we expose ourselves to, and we're very vulnerable. And that leads us to a space of, if we get ourselves, say, tied into someone that's not on the same page as us, that could lead to us becoming more enclosed and not want to share our message or share our gifts or be prosperous in what God is putting onto our lives to share with others. So if you find yourself in that type of debacle where you're not 100% sure if you're going in the right direction, or if you're not 100% sure if your faith is strong enough, you really holistically want to dive deep into yourself, dive deep into that word, dive deep into that word, and really let it magnify in the areas of weakness that you have in your life, so that way you can strengthen those areas and become more effective, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones and your church members, like us at the Mountain Western Branch. But yeah.
So our next question is, or our next two questions, all kind of like respond and colliding with each other, but the next two questions is, why do you think we delay obedience when we hear God clearly? And what mindset has to die before you can truly take possession of what God promised?
Why do you think we delay obedience even when we hear God clearly? And I think that really comes down to, because I love that question. I think that really comes down to really showing how stubborn we really are naturally. I feel like you really show your true character of stubbornness when you have no one telling you what to do other than God, and you're still on a page of, nah, I ain't feeling that, Jesus. You want me to go up to that person and tell them that God loves them and bless them with buying their groceries? You want me to do that? You see the way my bank account is set up? You see the way my life is set up? God, you want me to do that? Me, of all people, me. Yes. By all means necessary. Yes. You listen to what that man God is telling you in your ear, in your spirit, and watch that blessing just overcome not just you, but the person that you're impacting. Because generally God will put us in position to he puts us in position to really set the tempo for what he already has laid out. And a lot of times some of those starting points are equated from us being that initiator. So when God asks you to do your job, and whatever it is he's asking you to do, whether it be gifting someone, sharing a word with someone, just simply just being a support system to someone, or maybe he's telling you to fall back, saying, hey, you need to stay away from that person right there, or stay away from that situation, because all it's going to do is lead to you in the wrong direction. And if anything, you definitely don't want to have your faith tested in that low realm, especially when God is already telling you how you should be moving. So I honestly feel as though our stubbornness is really put on full front page when Jesus himself is telling us what we should be doing, and we're literally saying, nah, even though we should be obedient to God by all means necessary, even though he already has our destiny laid out, he already has what's going to happen and how it's going to happen already laid out, we really have to be obedient to what this man God is telling us. And I'm telling you, he would do so many wonders in your life that you would not even have expected. So just listen to the man upstairs. I promise you, got this angel and this angel here talking. The angel is good over here, the bad angel over here. You listen to the one over here, and you follow through on what God is telling you. What you think about that, Samara?
Well, I think those two questions are really good questions to ask, because sometimes, like for me, I know like what delays me in my obedience. Sometimes like with people or like with myself, I have lack of confidence, and I always fear that I'm not qualified enough to do certain things. But God doesn't pick the qualified. He just chooses you. And there is no perfect person, qualified person. You don't need to know the Bible cover to cover. You don't need to be in a specific position to understand and lead your life into obedience. It's just hearing God and following his direction.
That's it.
And one thing I always tell myself is I'm not too much for God to handle, and I'm enough for God, because the flesh will make you feel like you're not enough for yourself and make you doubt a lot of things.
Yes.
But Jesus died on the cross for a reason.
Yes.
It wasn't just a pointless thing. He died for a reason. So remember that reason. And always, think about how you would handle things in a godly perspective, not a worldly perspective.
Right.
And the mindset that has to die before I take truly is self-doubt and lack of like self-confidence and like my self-esteem, like not always thinking about me. you have to lead with He. Like, what will God do? And see where He leads you. Not saying like selfishly, but just leading your mindset to God and not letting other things interrupt you or deter you from the path God has for you. So just cutting out people and cutting out mindsets, but also understanding that a lot of times when we get really down and stuff, sometimes it's spiritual warfare. So you have to learn how to fight back.
Yes.
And be strong. And have that level of wisdom, grace, and strength. And that's one of the top 3 things I've learned. Is to have grace, strength, and wisdom in everything that I do. So,
woo! Y'all taking notes. Please tell me y'all wrote that down.
But we don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. I hope you guys enjoy episode 5 of Collect That Tea with Pastor D. See you guys next week for episode 6. And if you're interested, you can always look us up on the internet, the Mount at Western Branch. So
y'all know what time it is, my Western Branch. Y'all come through, show some love. Girl, I really enjoyed being on the show today. I appreciate you inviting me and coming on. Mr. Mario, let's give her a hand clap for Mr. Mario.
See you guys later.
See y'all.